When I was in the early years of learning, there was a saying that we would come across all the time. Make good for the room that you desire. Make good for the room that you desire. And it is a profound truth in life, in nature, in ourselves, when we understand what it is. Most people approach growth with the idea of make something easier for me. Now this is the kind of weird twist in the truth. It's already easy. You're not good enough yet. When I say good enough, I don't mean not enough, but you have to get better. When you get better, it gets easier. We don't want to take something that appears to be difficult for you and make it very, very simple or easy for you. We want you to get better so that that thing is always easy for you. It's easy as you get better. So when we do that, we're doing something called making room for the good that we desire. We must remember a profound truth. The universe wants you to win more than you want to win. Everything that could possibly be possible for your life wants to come into your life. That's how God has set up this beautiful universe. If you stop and you just go somewhere where you can seriously observe nature for a while, you see that that's 100% true. Nature always provides for itself. But the things in nature must become what they're designed to become in order to receive it. And with nature, it's nowhere near as complicated as it is with human beings, because as I've said before, there's nothing in nature that is deprogramming a squirrel that it's not a squirrel, okay? Because if it did, the squirrel would grow up just as screwed up as a lot of human beings are. However, we experience that profound injustice all the time. We're born with a center of truth inside of us, and that center of truth wants to guide us. Now, for those of you that are really making a lot of progress, I want you to ask yourself a question. Does it not feel like you're stepping into what is true in yourself versus becoming something completely different? It's as if you're remembering who you are, right? There's a feeling of like, as I step into this what I call a new version of myself, like, oh, this is what home is. This is the place that I'm supposed to be. This is the person that I'm supposed to be. What are we doing when we have that feeling? See, when we're stretching and striving and crushing and doing all of that, we don't have that feeling. We have anxiousness, we have nervousness, we're constantly fighting doubts and fears. But as we get better, there's a normalcy that takes over. And as that normalcy takes over, the universe responds with what's always been there for us to come into our life. You're growing into the person that you're supposed to be for the universe to graciously give you what it is that you're supposed to have. When you look at people in business that are doing very well, they're stepping into that. They're becoming something big enough in life for all the blessings of life to then flow into their business, into their life. In the very beginning, people, when you talk to them about making changes, the last thing they want to do is start rearranging their life. It's like you've got to let something go that's not working in order to open yourself up to something that will. It's a real psychological addiction to try to hang on to all the things in your life that are not working, even when you know they're not working, when you know that it's not the right people, or when a person is working in a job and they hate it every day, yet the fear holds them in that place. Or they know that there's something that they really want in life, and yet they won't go out and buy it, or they won't go out and get it, or they won't go out and become that thing. They're not making room in their life for the universe to bring in what you want. So as we grow, there's something that shifts in us almost on a daily basis. You're choosing to let something go that's not working. And when you let something go that's not working, the truth of yourself can come to the surface. If there's something in your life that is bogging you down, that is holding you back, that is making you miserable, as you let those things go, the higher side of yourself comes to the surface. You're able to follow the desire of your heart. You're able to do the things that you're here to do. And the more you become conscious of that, usually the faster that it happens, right? Keep going past where you would normally stop. There's a door that opens there for everybody. And that is a huge win on the other side of the room that you're in. Everything in your body might be saying, stop here. Don't do that thing. Go lay on the couch. Go do something different. Get away from everything. All of that nonsense that goes inside a person's mind comes from, see, now that's not natural. Let me say that first. It's not natural, right? We don't see that in nature. Where does it come from? It comes from the resistance of you being told over and over and over again for all of your life that you had to do things that you don't like to do. When you first approach success, there's going to be things that you're afraid to do, right? You may be afraid to talk to people or call people. You may be literally afraid to work more because your previous experience is working more sucks. I don't want to work harder. I don't want to work more. But when we realize that when we're doing something that we love, our body is in a different vibration than working hard. It's not something that we don't want to do. It's something that flows through us that we can do much easier. When you get past those little resistances and you go further for a little bit more and you see those doors open, it's like something in your heart opens. It's like, oh my God, look at this win. Look at what we did. Look at what we were able to accomplish by actually doing those things, by going past these little levels of resistance in each person's life. You're making room for the good that you desire. The universe or God cannot get in the thing that you want when you're holding on to too much of what you don't want. So we let it go a little bit at a time, right? The metamorphosis that takes place is that one day you wake up and you find that you no longer have a need to do something that was dysfunctional before. You no longer have a need to chase somebody in your life for their love or for their appreciation. You no longer have a need to talk from the story that was who you were, which is really a big one. Like, you can see this transformation take place in yourself and in others. And here's what it is. A lot of people come from the place of, here is my old story, here's where I've come to. Once a person is done with that story, they don't talk about that anymore. They only talk about where they're going. They only talk about where they're going. They're not talking about the story of where they came from, because why? They no longer identify with it. It loses its grip on us. And you're able to look back at it and go, wow, was that even really me? Was that actually my life? Like, things are so different from the way they were. It seems like that was another lifetime or another person. It's hard to believe that I was in that dysfunctional relationship, or I did those things, or I was afraid, or I was doubting, or I hesitated, and I wasn't able to stand up and do the things that I'm doing. Every day, ask yourself, what can I let go of today that makes more room for the good that I want? When you let go of that resistance, you now open the door for more business to come in. The higher level of business that we're all looking for exists on the level of true transformation, meaning that the people that you want to do business with, they truly want your product or service. They want what it does. But when you're getting a lot of people that are not buying, they get very close up to the line, but then they resist, they want money off, they don't want to do it, they don't want to commit. Whatever it is, realize that is a reflection of your own behavior in your own life. When you let that go, you become something different and you attract something different. The universe is always mirroring back to us the next place for us to change. It's really profound when you realize that there's no mysteries around this. It's only awareness. The more we become aware of what it is that we're actually viewing within the reality that we've created, we know that as we change, the reality automatically changes, right? If you were standing in front of a mirror and then you stepped away and you put a hat on and you moved back in front of the mirror, it doesn't take time for the mirror to catch up to the idea that you put a hat on. it reflects back the change immediately. The universe operates the same way. When you step into the person that you want to become, when you stop resisting, when you let go of things that are taking up your time, your space, your psychology, it reflects back instantly exactly what it is that you're looking for. Those doors are always there for each one of us. There's no resistance on the other side. If you just remember, everything that I'm experiencing is a cause set in motion, and I'm the cause. I'm the cause. As Freud once said, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Does that mean that every time you have a problem, this is like, do you have to do some mindset work? No. But when it becomes a pattern, that's when you have to look at it, right? If it's consistently the same problem over and over again, you're going to go through thousands. Some of you will go through millions of people that come and look at your business and either buy or move through. They're not all going to be exactly perfect, but the ability to see the ones that are, the ability to sell the ones that are, the ability to do business with the ones that are becomes far much easier. There are people that have done record-setting amounts of business in very small locations that other people would have thought completely impossible because they became the thing that that community needed, right? When somebody says, I can't see that working, or I can't see that happening, or I can't see you winning at that level, or whatever, they're seeing things from their own resistance inside themselves. They're seeing through the eye of misunderstanding. Of course they can't see it, because they haven't made themselves big enough to fit in that space. They haven't opened the door to allow it to come in. Most of the things that they're doing is that they're resisting what's in the universe, right? People say that they want things, but they resist talking to people. They don't want to have good relationships. They don't want to change the things about them that make them more attractive in what it is that they're doing. They're hiding, they're covering themselves up in some way as not to get hurt or not to be rejected. When all of that comes down, you become the flower that the bee is looking for. You're out there in the universe. It is seeking you. The good that you desire is seeking you. Remember what Waddell said in Science of Getting Rich. The universe is more eager for you to win than you are to win. If you remember that, then the question becomes, okay, if I'm struggling right now, what am I resisting? How do you find that out? Look at what you're not doing or what's not working and ask yourself, what are you holding on to? Because as Buddha said, attachment's what causes the pain. But it's attachment to the thing that won't let the good in to our life. As human beings, we attach. That's what we do. But it's being attached to the right thing versus the wrong thing. Most people are attached to things that are completely not true in order to feel safe, because, not because it's not true, but because it's familiar. When you're attached to the familiar and you keep repeating that cycle over and over and over again, there's a feeling of certainty that comes with it, is there not? There is, 100%. You may not like it, you may not enjoy it, you may consciously wish, I don't want to have to deal with this again, but because you've dealt with it a million times, there's a feeling of certainty. Right? It's also with the thing that you're not doing. There's more of a feeling of certainty of procrastinating on something when you've done that for years than actually breaking through and doing the thing and saying, you know what, procrastination is not going to be part of my life anymore. I am going to make quick decisions, I'm going to make solid decisions, and I'm going to stick to the decisions that I make. And I'm going to enjoy the ride, right? I think one of the greatest gifts that Joseph Campbell gave us was the idea of when the desire shows up in your life, when the opportunity shows up in your life, it's calling you to the great adventure of your life. And if we would see things, because that's an attitudinal change, if we would see things from the point of my life is a flippin' adventure, even the things that go wrong, I understand that when it's difficult, it might be hard to see it that way, but it wasn't when you were a kid. It was a natural state of our childhood at some point. Now, when I talk to adults a lot, sometimes they don't always remember that. If you do a little digging, you can usually get back to that place. It really depends on how you were raised. But I have never seen a kid that did not have a sense of adventure, even if at some point it was kind of whacked out of them. And they had to like shut that energy down, and they had to follow or tote the road that whatever it is that their parents said. You were born with a sense of adventure. You were born curious. You were born happy. You were born wanting to reach out, wanting to become, wanting to do the thing. It was taught out of you. As you make room, it's like you're coming home. Not like, you are. You're coming home. You're coming home to your soul's desire, the person that you were meant to be. When you start to settle into that place, there's a security there that is profound. There's a sense of peace there that is completely profound because not only do you know it, but you own it. And you can see through comparison, I'm never going back to what that was. I'm going to stay out in being this person and stay curious as to what else does the universe have for me? Because no longer does the doubt, the worry, the fear, the shame, and the guilt control your life. You will never completely not experience those anymore, but you won't let them control you. And when you're in that place, it's like when you finally get free of a toxic relationship and you know that you're now free. It was hard to go through the breakup, but you know that you're now free. So the doubt, the fear, the worry, the shame, and the guilt, those are the things that we have to detach from the most, and we have to step out there in the adventure, in the excitement, be, do, and have the thing that we want, and allow ourselves to keep growing. And that's where every day is a blast. Even when something goes wrong, every day is a blast. If you remind yourself of that, damn, this is an amazing life. It's absolutely amazing. Everything's an adventure. And approach it as an adventure, a fun adventure. It changes everything.